Hi, my name is Lottie. I'm a senior at Spain Park High School and have been going to St. Stephen's for about a year now. One essential thing to know about me is that music is a big part of my life, Mac Miller especially. You would be amazed if you saw how much music I listen to. This app called Airbuds gives you a weekly recap of how many minutes of music you listen to and what songs you listen to the most. Just last week, I listened to 1,528 minutes of music. To save you some time, that equates to 25 hours and 28 minutes of music this past week. Today, I'm telling the parable of the talents and how it relates to me. This story is about 3 servants, each given a different amount of talents. One of the servants is given 5 talents, the next 3, and the next 1 talent. The first servant with 5 talents goes out and trades his talents for 5 more, and the second servant produces 2 more talents. The third servant digs a hole and buries his talent deep into the ground. When the master returns home, he rejoices with the 2 servants who created more talents. But as for the servant who hid his talent away, he is frowned upon and told how foolish he was. One of my best friends, Anna, has recently moved away to college in Auburn. She brought lots of joy and excitement into my life. She lives life on the edge, whereas 2 years ago, I feared everything. I never took risks, which is not bad, but I needed to realize how exciting life could be. In March of 2022, I went to a concert with Anna. We saw Billie Eilish at the BJCC. I'm not big into Billie Eilish's music, but it sounded like a cool concert to experience. I had never been to a concert with Anna until that night. Our seats were at the very top of the arena. Anna wanted a better experience of the show and decided that we should somehow get closer to the stadium floor. This made me fear. What if we get kicked out? What if we get yelled at? What will happen to us? I wanted Anna to get an experience that she strived for. I wanted the night to be as good as possible. I took the risk. We slowly inched our way from the top section to the floor below. It felt as though I was putting my entire life at risk, a feeling I've never felt before. Anna was not satisfied with our new seats and wanted to go further down into the pit. I had already taken such significant risks that night, and Anna still wanted more. I agreed. I thought this night would end with us listening to Billie Eilish outside the stadium. We snuck past security and got to the row behind the pit railing. This night was unforgettable. I had done something I thought I would never accomplish, take the risk and live a longer, more thrilling life. This reminded me of when I brought my new talents of being fearless to my family. Recently, I've attended many concerts like Noah Kahan, Thomas Rhett, the Outlaw Music Festival. When Noah Kahan played in Nashville, my sister A.E. and I went to see him. Like Anna, I wanted a better experience for myself and for A.E. to have an experience she would never forget. We scoped out a way to get past security and make it to the front of the auditorium. Though she was terrified of what our outcome might be, in my mind, I thought of how much better of an experience I had with Anna when we took a major risk. What is the worst thing that could go wrong? They tell us to go back to our original seats? We risked it. It ended up being a night neither she nor I could forget. Like the first 2 servants in the story, Anna took her talents, or in her case, her confidence, and strived for a night never to forget. I would have been like the one servant who buried their talents away and lived life in total fear if Anna had not been there to guide me. We should live our lives like Anna to a certain aspect. Do not live life in fear. Take risks in your faith and live your life to its fullest. The point of the story is not about me sneaking into the pits of concerts, but rather about being afraid and taking risks. This is about crossing boundaries and taking risks. Isn't that what God called us to do with love? To be bold in how we love, to push in how we love each other, and to take risks in love each other. God will guide you in your life even when it gets tricky. God will praise you for taking your love for him and sharing it with the world. But even if your way of sharing his love may seem minor and insignificant, it is way more important than you may imagine.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Graham, and I'm a senior at Homewood High School. I'm also an active member of our youth group here at St. Stephen's and have been for quite some time. I first was introduced to St. Stephen's EYC through one of my closest friends, Jason Thompson. Prior to going, I had never been to St. Stephen's nor an EYC event ever, and honestly, I didn't know what to expect. As soon as I walked into the parish hall, I instantly felt at home and was welcomed into the church. I would go to EYC from time to time, but it wasn't really until the summer of 2021 that I would go a lot more, just so I could keep in touch with my friends, since most of them didn't go to my school. EYC started to become something I would look forward to every week, and was excited to dive deeper into my faith through the help of my peers. It felt as though every time I went into youth group, a weight was lifted off my shoulders. As soon as I walked through the door, I could act freely and be myself. I was asked to write up a sermon for Youth Sunday. I was presented with a parable from Matthew 25:14 through 30, a short parable that tells the story of a master who gives 3 of his servants talents. I feel as though these talents in the stories serve as a representation for the gifts that God has given everyone to be traded and doubled. By hiding our God-given talents, we are suppressing our full potential, and it is up to you to use those talents to make even more. When I stopped going to EYC for an amount of time, I felt as though I was hiding my talents, leaving me with no source of faith. But as I started to attend regularly and became more involved with the youth group, I began to use my talents and double them by exploring my faith. I no longer had this broad idea of a big guy in the clouds, and started to see God in many aspects of my daily life, whether that be through EYC, Camp McDowell, or in just my friends in general. Reflecting back on my time here as a youth at St. Stephen's makes me happy for all the times I've spent in Carpenter Hall, playing grog, carving pumpkins, going on ski trips at EYC, and just spending time with people I love the most. I care so much for this place, and I'm glad that I'm part of such an amazing and loving community. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. My name's Ben. I'm a senior at Mount Brook, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the reading today. In today's gospel, the story tells us that God always gives us everything we need to do what he has called us to do. I was curious what the talent referred to in the story is worth in today's dollars. We don't really know for sure what the exact value is, but it does seem to indicate a very large sum of money. I've spent a lot of time over the past week thinking about this story. The talents referred to in this gospel story are not always meant to be conveyed as some sort of money or wealth. A gift or talent could be many different things, like an ability, knowledge, or education. It could be a connection or a social position, and so on. At first, I felt sorry for the servant that was given only 1 talent, but that 1 talent is actually a very large gift. The servant was given more than enough to meet the master's expectations, yet he buried it in the yard. He did not use his talent. He did not use the talent he was given and wasted his opportunity. We all have different talents or gifts. God expects us to use our gifts in ways so that they are not wasted. God did not give us all the same gifts, and he doesn't expect the same results from us, but it is a privilege to have a gift that gives us the opportunity to work towards God's purpose in the world. The master gives to each servant talents, each according to his ability. The master knew that the 1-talent servant was not capable of producing as much as the 5-talent servant. At first, I thought this seemed unfair, but from my own experiences in life, I know that this is true. We are all different, but even though we're not created the same in regard to the talents we're given, there is equality found in the story. It comes from the fact that it takes just as much work for the 5-talent servant to produce 5 more talents as it does the 2-talent servant to produce 2 more talents. This is why the reward given by the master is the same. The master measures success by degrees of effort. The story makes me think of what gifts God gave to me and what gifts he has given to the people that I've encountered in my life. When I insert myself into the story, I wonder what I would have done. Which servant would I be? Would I use my gifts for good, or would I waste them? The master expected his servants to do more than passively preserve what has been entrusted to them, and God expects us to generate a return by using our talents towards productive ends. The servants were given enough to produce more. It is the same with the gifts that God has given us. Sometimes Christians think that productivity and a return on investment are unholy, but this gospel is telling us that we should invest our gifts for God's kingdom. We are here to work, using our talents to glorify God, serve the common good, and further God's kingdom. We should use our gifts as servants of God. We should maximize the use of our talents not for our own selfish purposes, but to honor God. I've been reflecting a lot on the servant who received only 1 talent or gift. The unfaithful servant in this story didn't so much waste the master's money, he wasted an opportunity. I can think of times when I missed an opportunity to use one of my gifts. I try to be a kind and loving person, but I've not always used this gift when I should have. I love my family and my friends, and I care for them. But there have been times in my life where I've encountered people that I did not click with or didn't have much in common with. And I have not always treated these individuals with the same love and kindness that I would my own family and friends. What sticks out to me is that if I'd used my gift with these individuals, I might have had a chance to help them at a time they needed it most. Or perhaps it would have drawn me closer to them, and that would have changed my first impression. I would have gained a friend. And not only could I have helped them, but kindness is contagious. My kindness might have awakened a reaction in them that would be passed on to others. God expected us to use our gifts wisely. He gives us free will to choose what we do with the blessings we've been given. He loves us so much that he allows us to decide our path. He desires that we grow our gifts for his glory, but it's up to each of us to decide. Will we help those people that needed us? Will we show mercy, grant forgiveness, and love each other? Or will we waste our blessings and misuse our talents? I feel challenged by this gospel story to take what God has given me and invest it in the kingdom of God. And fortunately, I have not always wasted my gift, but I often think of those missed opportunities. I did not want to be an unproductive servant of God, and I don't want my talents to be wasted. I'm thankful for my time here at St. Stephen's, my participation in EYC, and my participation in Happening. They have all helped me recognize my gifts, and I've been able to grow my gifts, and I've had help along the way to learn how I can use my gifts in ways to be a servant of God. As I move off to college, I hope to continue to find ways to use my gifts and surround myself with activities that help me grow them. Thank you.